workshop with our budget. We adopt our preliminary budget. By law, we have to get a preliminary budget adopted, and we have to have it advertised, and then before December 30th, we'll also have to adopt the final budget. So we have some numbers here. I think our manager isn't here today, and Cindy's here today to talk about the budget that we've put together so far as a preliminary look at it.
Hi, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Cindy Stevens. I'm the finance administrator for the township. The current preliminary budget has a shortfall of $560,000. We had met in October and had made, the Board of Supervisors had made some changes to the first draft of the budget. And has brought the shortfall to where it is you see. I do believe a few of the members have some suggestions on some changes that can be made to, you want to, is that how you want to start with it?
In comparing the initial budget that was sent out, can everyone hear me? In comparing the initial budget that was sent out today, I have some serious concerns about some things that were changed before I get into my suggestions. I noticed that the initial budget for police salaries, just to jump right into it, was initially approximately $1.557 million. That was as of October 7th. As of a budget that went out on October 11th, there was actually a mistake in the budget, so it came out with the wrong number. But Supervisor Castillo, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was only supposed to be $20,000 reduction to the police salaries that was discussed on the October 10th meeting, correct? I was not. So if you go to page 9. Exactly. So salary set by contract, initially, that's exactly my point actually. Initially, the budget was 1,557, which would, 1,557,000, which would have allowed our police to meet their contractual obligations and allowed a significant, or a slight adjustment for court time and things that we can't actually, we basically guess at this point based on prior years. But it's my understanding that there was a reduction, I have no idea why, of $20,000, which should have brought it down to $1.53 million. There was a mistake in the budget that I caught that actually showed $102,000, which made no sense. But this budget that went out yesterday shows $1.475 million, which would actually cause our police to go over budget. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd just like to make a note that the budget workshop originally, and that is a concern to the board members, if I could speak up, please. Just for the police salaries, it was $61,318.61 increase with the officers' 4.5% raises they got. I would need, just to cover the police officer salaries, I believe $1,469,000. If this is $1,475,000, that's going to leave us $5,000 approximately for a whole year for court time and OIC pay. So I know we talked about this at the last budget workshop. I have numbers written down for $1,510,000, which would give us a buffer. Again, this is court time that is contractually for us. I believe that's going to set me up for failure with $5,000. I can tell you right now, officers have approximately 20 hearings. We are at the mercy of the magistrate to assist us with scheduling. if she cannot accommodate us, which they do not have to do that, you're looking at probably for one hearing, $2,000 for an officer if they have 20 to 25, 30 hearings. So I can definitely tell you that I would be over on the salary if I don't have that buffer that I asked for. And I can go over immediately this year. And again, it's not based on, Lieutenant Gizio and I changed the schedule. We have 5 days in our contract to change the officer schedules. But unfortunately, there is scheduling problems where they reschedule the officer. It could be the defense attorney rescheduling for us. And in all sincerity, we cannot accommodate every time to change that schedule for that officer. We've had to use the contract and have to pay them straight time out of the actual salary there. So I need more of a buffer than $5,000 from the exact amount, 4.5% raise, which is again $61,318. That was it.
So my suggestion on that would be to bump it up to the 1.510 million that he's asking for. We can't approve a budget that we know is gonna fail. There's no point.
Does that give me
Did you
approximately
discuss that with
40,000?
Dawn? Did you do so?
Yeah, and that's the number we wrote down. Me and Dawn, whenever we discussed the last budget workshop, it actually came, I believe, to $1,509,318.61. He told me to round it up to $1,510,000.
Yeah, I don't know where the change came from. Well, I know we talked about salaries.
That was my biggest, I just saw that right now, and that is my biggest concern. That literally gives me a little over $5,000.
So you mentioned at the budget meeting, and we said.
Yes, you did, we did discuss that, absolutely, yes.
So we're gonna agree to bump that up. Now with that, so in looking at our paving program, I figured out that we can spend approximately $900,000 on paving without even touching our general fund. So currently in our liquid fuels account, we have $485,562.98. That's as of now. That's as of October 31st. We will get approximately a $525,000 payment in March. If we combine those two, it's approximately $910,000. We can use $900,000 of liquid fuels money and pave almost $1 million, which is what's in the budget, without even touching the general fund. That'll flip our deficit from $559,000 to almost $90,000 surplus without ever touching, and it really doesn't impact anyone. We can pay our police officers, we don't have to touch our general fund reserve, we don't have to touch anything, we can just use liquid fuel funds. If you remember the paving meeting that we had in January or February of last year, I brought to the board's attention that if we were going to spend $2 million in 2016 paving, including Coleman Road, that we would have a limited amount of funds to pave with this year. The board seemed to be in agreement at that point, so this allows us, if we spend between $875,000 and $900,000 of liquid fuel funds, then we don't have to use our general fund.
Boy, Bill, what's the chance of you finding $485,000 worth of liquid fuel expenditures? That's we've never spent that much because of the special restrictions on the use of that money.
Right.
I mean, can that work?
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, we make it work.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, I mean, it has to be targeted. It has to be targeted, and it has to be meet the criteria for the liquid fuels.
Yeah, we can do it.
And that excludes, that still gives us money, I think it was $260,000 or so in in-house asphalt paving, correct? I don't have it.
260, yes.
Yeah, 260 is what I got. So that doesn't include the paving that our public works department will do in-house. So if there's any specific programs that we can do in-house, you've done a great job up until now. Hopefully that would continue.
So that $260,000 in asphalt is what we use in-house.
Right,
Right.
correct.
But I can say that we're getting on top of it.
Yeah,
We're
Yeah.
getting real close to being on top of it.
Right. We're getting to the point where, not we want to scale back, but we're almost in a maintenance point. We don't want to blow through money just to blow through.
We actually got to do some
Can
work
you
on.
speak up a little bit, Cindy?
Sure, sorry.
We actually got
Just
to do
yell
some work on a Hahn Road this year. which was
But
huge.
that's going to be in-house.
That's all in-house.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, right, that's
I would like to see us continue to work on Vaughn Road the next 2 seasons.
One other concern that I had was there was a reduction in the fuel by $15,000, or $15,000. That's really out of our control, that's $5,000. We will definitely exceed that if we, am I talking about it? We will definitely exceed that if we leave the budget as is. Again, I don't see the point in setting ourselves up for failure. If we just use those liquid fuel funds for paving, we are able to add back the $15,000 that was taken out of fuel. Sean, anything you want to add? Is that enough?
Right now, we're at $38,000 for fuel for the police cars. If I add any more shifts, if the cost of fuel goes up, that's gonna be over $40,000. We still have another month. It's going between $3,000 and $4,000 a month for fuel for police cars. And again, that's not adding any special details, any critical incidents. That is just basically per month. We patrol about 20,000 miles a month in our patrols for the month. So that is very close. I will be over, unfortunately, because again, this year, right now, I'm about $38,000. If you only give me $40,000, if the cost of, again, the fuel goes up, I'm just letting you guys know I'll be over.
Just really quick, Cindy Stevens pointed out, I want to make it clear that we're reducing the capital road construction program to take money out of the general fund, and we'll just use liquid fuel money for paving. Just so the board completely understands what I'm asking for. Yes, we understand.
Doesn't make any difference where it comes from to me.
Okay, I just want to make sure that there's no, so we're reducing that to zero.
And that saves us from having to adjust revenues, or anticipated revenue, if they conservative like we did in October.
I think we need to be conservative. I've talked to a couple of attorneys. We're facing because of the appeals and stuff that are going to be outstanding, we're facing an issue where we may not get the anticipated revenue that we expect, or we'll have to hold back approximately 25% of some of our tax income based on companies or individuals that are appealing their real estate taxes. So we really have to be careful this year so that we don't have this crazy shortfall because of the appeals. So we just have to be a little bit more cautious this year until we kind of feel out the appeal process. And then we can be a little bit.
So Stevens, the information we got for our millage then, it takes down to 1 mil, right, from 16 to 1.
It's actually, with the pending appeals and at the 94% collection rate, we're at 1.509 total. Now that will include, for the general fund, 1.05.
1.05.
1.05 for the general fund. Road machinery fund would be 0.18. Fire protection fund would be 0.27.
What's that?
Tom, do you want this?
That's the villages.
The calculation.
What's the .27?
That is the fire protection, the fire tax fund.
That's the equivalent of the 3 mils right now.
Yes.
And what was the .18?
Let's see, we have, the total millage would be 1.50.
Road machinery is 1.18 millage. I know most of you are probably aware that not only our township, but all the municipalities in Washington County, even the school districts in the county, we have to adjust our millage based on the new assessments. And there's a limit on the amount that we can consider or receive as a windfall. Our township, we have no intentions of raising taxes to take any windfall. So whatever our millage was at 16 last year, we're calculating it back to be exactly the same, so that we can say there won't be a real estate tax increase.